안녕하세요. Riding on the Korean wave. Welcome to Tuesday's edition of The Culture Wave. I'm Kwon So-ah in Seoul. Explore with us Korea's culture from all aspects and stay up to date with K-entertainment, K-heritage, K-travel, K-everything. And we're going to do all of that together with my co-host Walter Lee joining me in the studio. Hello, Walter.
Hello, Soa, and hello to all our viewers at home. Walter Lee here to co-host alongside Soa, and I have the latest in K-Enter news just for you.
And we're going to kick off on the K-Enter front today, Walter.
Yep.
So one of our first story actually is about one of my favorite movies this year, but it's actually about the soundtracks.
Yes, indeed. So the original soundtrack for the hit Netflix animated film K-Pop Demon Hunters continues to show strong momentum on the US Billboard 200, still climbing the chart in its 5th week since its release. Now, a preview article from Billboard says the original soundtrack moved up 2 places from the previous week, reaching number 3. Now, the Billboard 200 ranks these by combining traditional album sales, streaming equivalent albums, and also track equivalent albums. In the latest tracking week, K-Pop Demon Hunters, the original soundtrack, achieved 89,000 album units, so good on them.
Well, I can't get enough of not just Golden and Soda Pop, but Take Down and all the other songs.
All of them.
Right. But Walter, we're going to move on to BTS.
Yes, we are. Another big performance. BTS live album Permission to Dance Stage Live, released on July 18th, debuted at number 10 on the Billboard 200 chart, dated August 2nd. Despite featuring no new songs, the concert album's strong debut further cements BTS's reputation as K-pop icons. Now, Permission to Dance on Stage Live is BTS's first official concert recording, capturing the energy of their 12-show tour held both online and in person in Seoul, Los Angeles, and also Las Vegas. That was back in 2021 and 2022. Now, this marks BTS's 16th album to enter the Billboard 200. Of those, 6 have reached number 1, including their anthology album, Proof, as well as their 4th studio album, Map of Soul 7. Now, with this release, BTS now holds the record for the most top 10 entries on the Billboard 200 among Korean artists, with a total of 8 albums reaching that top tier.
Incredible. And finally, let's talk about legendary K-pop singer Boa.
Yes, indeed. On Monday, Boa gave fans a sneak peek into her 11th full-length album, called Crazier, through her YouTube channel. Now, the video features a weather forecast theme and offers an overall vibe of that album. Now, starting with the soul pop track Healing Generation, other tracks include Boa's self-written song It Takes Two, which portrays a passionate love story, the pop dance track Don't Mind Me, and the title track Crazier. All of the songs are introduced in a compact 5-minute video. Marking her 25th anniversary, this album is scheduled for release on August 4th. Now, we did talk about it recently. Boa unfortunately did make the news recently after having to cancel her August concerts due to health reasons.
Well, we hope for her recovery, and thank you very much, Walter, for those updates.
No worries.
And now let's turn to our AI anchor, Ari, for more culture news. Ari?
Hello and welcome to your AI guide to the latest cultural updates from Korea. Here's our top story. The Korean government is engaging with APAC member economies to discuss regional cooperation for sustainable growth in the tourism sector. The APAC Tourism Working Group meeting will be held in Incheon through Thursday, focusing on this year's 3 key APAC priorities: connectivity, innovation, and prosperity, while exploring ways to boost regional tourism collaboration. Attendees will also take part in experiential programs highlighting the appeal of Korean tourism. The itinerary includes visits to the National Museum of Korea and Seoul's popular tourist destinations, including the Seongsu-dong neighborhood, aimed at showcasing the diverse attractions of Korea. The Royal Pharmacy at Changdeokgung Palace will open to the public every Wednesday through Sunday from this week until August 17th. Known as Yakbang during the Joseon Dynasty, the pharmacy served as the palace's official medical office. Visitors can freely explore the historic site and also sample omijati, a traditional drink favored by the royal family. Tastings will be offered at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m., with 100 cups available at each session. For more details on the Yakbang tour, visit the official Changdeokgung website at royal.khs.go.kr. Park Se-eun, the first Asian to be named an étoile, or principal dancer, at the prestigious Paris Opera Ballet, will return to Korea for a special gala performance alongside her fellow stars. Following successful runs in 2022 and last year, this year's gala has once again been personally curated by Park, who also oversaw the casting. A total of 10 principal dancers will take part in the performance. Running for 3 days from this Wednesday, the gala will feature iconic works by legendary choreographers, including George Ball and Sheen. At a pre-show press conference, Park noted that recognition of the Korean gala has grown within the company and that many dancers were eager to participate. That's all from me. Stay tuned to the Culture Wave.
Korea's southeastern city of Ulsan is home to prehistoric rock carvings that were recently recognized as UNESCO World Heritage. Our Choi Soo-hyung delves into the implications of this latest acknowledgement.
Petroglyphs along the Bulguksa stream in Ulsan became South Korea's 70th entry on the UNESCO World Heritage List. These are carvings made on rock walls beside the stream by prehistoric people who lived on the Korean peninsula about 6,000 years ago. This is South Korea's first UNESCO World Heritage listing on petroglyphs that show prehistoric life and possible beliefs.
This inscription is especially meaningful as it marks the first petroglyph site in all of Asia to be recognized by UNESCO. Until now, only 7 countries, including Russia, Algeria, and Brazil, had petroglyphs on the World Heritage List. South Korea is the first in East Asia to achieve this.
On July 12th in Paris, the World Heritage Committee recognized the Bulguksa petroglyphs as masterpieces of human creativity, showcasing the artistic and unique skills of ancient people living along coastal areas of the Korean peninsula. Especially, the committee said those featuring whales and whaling were a historically important record of outstanding universal value.
Whale inscriptions are extremely rare worldwide. These petroglyphs uniquely show not only different whale species, but also detailed hunting methods. With little written record from prehistoric times, the Bulguksa petroglyphs provide invaluable insight into the lives and creativity of early humans.
Following its addition to the UNESCO tentative list in 2010, the full listing has finally come to fruition after 15 years. Notably, it is the second prehistoric heritage site in Korea to gain World Heritage status after the dolmen in Ganghwa in the country's western region. Due to its location near a stream and risk of flooding, the World Heritage Committee recommended reporting progress on flood prevention measures and firmly involving local communities in site management. The Korea Heritage Service also made special efforts to ensure their preservation, contributing to the successful listing.
To be listed as a World Heritage Site, its value must be clearly identified and well preserved through strong management plans. All efforts need to meet UNESCO standards. We prepared thoroughly in these areas, which led to its successful listing.
South Korea has 13 sites on the UNESCO tentative list, including the second phase of tidal flats, Seoul's old city walls, and Busan's wartime heritage are under review. Choi Soo-hyung, Arirang News.
Here's a note to Arirang TV viewers. We are conducting a survey for our programs, including The Culture Wave, to meet our viewers' expectations. Please visit us at www.arirang.com or on the mobile app Arirang TV to give us your valuable feedback. You also have a chance to win some Bluetooth earbuds and K-pop merch. You may have noticed a South Korean city making more frequent appearances recently on Korean media. Gyeongju has been in the spotlight as the host city of the APEC summit this year. Gyeongju is also a top travel destination for locals and foreigners alike. So for our fourth Summer K-Travel segment, we want to introduce the southeastern city of Gyeongju and a special destination within the city, Bulguksa Temple, a UNESCO Heritage Site and symbol of Buddhism. For that, we connect to Richard McBride, Professor of Korean Studies and Buddhist Studies at Brigham Young University. Hello, Professor McBride.
Hello, Professor.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us on the show. So, Professor, you've been to Bulguksa Temple numerous times. Do you remember your first visit to the temple, and how do your trips feel every time you go?
Well, I visited Bulguksa for the first time in the spring of 1990. I was serving as a missionary in Korea at the time, and a small group of us went to Bulguksa because we wanted to visit the heartland of Shilla culture. I had read stories and legends about Bulguksa, and I'd seen pictures and posters previously, but nothing compares to seeing it in real life. I was awestruck by the stonework on the Cheongun-kyo and Baegun-kyo stairways leading up to the monastery. And you could still walk up those stairs at that time. And also the quality of the Sakatop and Tabotop pagodas in the main courtyard was astonishing. I didn't realize this, but it was an important turning point in my life because I became passionate about Shilla culture and history, particularly the Buddhist culture of Shilla. When I go to Bulguksa today, I feel like I'm going back in time and witnessing the golden age of Shilla, because Bulguksa is one of the few Buddhist temples from this time that still exists. I always find something new to marvel at and appreciate the complex interconnections between Buddhism, Confucianism, folk beliefs and practices, art and architecture. I like to imagine Buddhist scholar monks that I know had connections with this monastery and who recorded stories and poems that enrich our understanding of the significance of the site.
Well, no wonder that Bulguksa is one of the most representative temples here in Korea, although Korea is home to a lot of Buddhist temples. And speaking of Bulguksa, this year is also actually the 30th anniversary of the inscription of Bulguksa Temple on the UNESCO World Heritage List, so very significant. But what kind of space does it feel like to you, and what symbolism or value do you think it has in Buddhism?
Well, Bulguksa is like a microcosm of the Buddhist world system. And as the name Bulguk implies, it means a Buddha's land or Buddha's country. You know, one is transported from the mundane world to the world of the Buddhas. The space symbolically brings together all the major trends in Buddhist practice and worship, including the dominant devotional traditions of the worship of Amitabha, the Buddha of the Western Paradise, Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva of compassion, a famous scholar of the late Shilla period, Chechi-1, who lived from the late 8th to the early 9th, or the late 9th to the early 10th centuries. He wrote a poem about Bulguksa and talked about its connection with the dominant Hwaum tradition, which is based on the Flower Garland Sutra. Bulguksa's architecture has symbolism inspired by two really important Buddhist temples, or really important Buddhist sutras, the Lotus Sutra and the Flower Garland Sutra. And the historical Buddha Shakyamuni, of course, is in the main hall, but behind that and deeper in the monastery is the Pirojan, the hall of Vairochana. Vairochana, the cosmic Buddha, is the cosmic Buddha and the Buddha from whence all the other Buddhas sort of emanate or are born. And in the West courtyard, there's Gungnakjan. It's a hall representing the Pure Land in the West. And there's a stone stairway connecting the main courtyard and that particular courtyard. And it symbolizes the 48 vows made by Amitabha when he was a bodhisattva. And it symbolizes the 16 visualizations. So there's all kinds of symbolism at the site. And of course, there's gilt bronze images of Vairochana and Amitabha that date from the middle of the 8th century. These are national treasures in Korea. So, Bulguksa encapsulates to me many of the dominant traditions of Buddhism in Korea and East Asia together.
Right.
Yes, and another of Gyeongju's heritage sites that was added to UNESCO's World Heritage List 3 decades ago was Seokguram's grotto. Now, it's distinct from Bulguksa's temple, yet interconnected in a way. Can you tell us more?
Sure. According to tradition, the story goes that Bulguksa and Seokguram were built by a Shillin noble named Kim Tae-sung. And according to the narrative in the Samguk Yusa, Kim Tae-sung was the reincarnation of a poor boy who was also called Tae-sung because his forehead was flat and large, like a great wall. That's what Tae-sung means, a great wall. Now, one purpose of this narrative is to encourage people that they should be very generous in their donations to the Buddhist church if they want good karma, success in life, those sorts of things. Well, this poor Tae-sung came to the realization that his family was poor and was in these indigent circumstances because they hadn't made offerings to the Buddhist church. And so the story goes that soon after that, he died, and then a miraculous thing happened. The story goes that a voice was heard from heaven saying that Tae-sung would be born into the chief minister, Kim Mul-yang's family. Well, after hearing the voice and other things, the story goes that Kim Mul-yang, he checked up and learned that sure enough, there was this boy Tae-sung that had died. And eventually, a child, Tae-sung was born. And when he was born, his left hand was clutched together. And finally, when it opened, they found a golden tablet inside that had the Chinese, had the characters for Tae-sung written on it. So, the story goes that, they knew it was Tae-sung. Well, from that time forward, this chief minister brought Tae-sung's mother from his previous life into his household to take care of her. And then eventually, in time, after a number of different experiences, Kim Tae-sung, he built Bulguksa for his parents in that current life and built Seokguram for his parents in his previous life. And so there's a definite connection. And, Seokguram is a fabulous, stone grotto, one of a kind in East Asia. And, but it seems that when Kim Tae-sung died in January of 775, they stopped work because some of the stones and the exquisite stonework in Seokguram, there's, some of the artifacts just show that they weren't completely finished compared to others. And so it's like when he died, work kind of stopped. And so there's this definite connection between the two sites. That's very important.
What a story.
It is a story, isn't it? So we've talked a lot about it on this show, but from late October to early November, Gyeongju will host the Apex Summit. Now, do you believe World Heritage sites such as Bulguksa Temple will bring more attention to the city?
Well, many people like to plan vacations to visit World Heritage sites. And of course, due to the rise in popularity of Korea and its vibrant culture in recent years, many people have wanted to go back to Korea to see more than just Seoul. And sites like Bulguksa and Seokguram are just so impressive. And they're just as impressive as the palaces in Seoul. And there's so much history to see in Gyeongju. So I believe that the reporters covering the events, such as the Apex Summit, will help draw more attention to the city. And that would be great.
And similar to that question, Professor, so big international events like APEC are really a great opportunity for foreigners to be exposed to Korea's traditional culture and also Buddhist heritages. So what really do you think is the significance in such experience?
Well, today, Korea is known for technological prowess and cultural trend setting. These sites show that Korea has deep roots in traditional East Asian culture and technology. Koreans were master stonemasons and metal workers, and the works of the craftsmen of the Shilla period produced show advanced engineering and artistic skills. Yet Korea's traditional heritage is still comparatively unknown, when we think about it in comparison with its neighbors, China and Japan. The significance of such experiences is the realization by foreigners that Korea's heritage is just as rich and deep as its neighbors, and that it has something to offer and inspire us in this hyper-materialistic world in which we live.
Right, and you sound like a quite experienced person in Gyeongju, so as many foreigners are expected to visit Gyeongju for the APEC summit, what other places apart from Bulguksa Temple would you recommend?
Well, I would recommend the Gyeongju National Museum because you can see the famous divine bell of King Seongdeok. You can see lots of treasures uncovered from Gyeongju Temple, which was the largest Buddhist temple in Shilla, but which was destroyed by the Mongols a long time ago, and many treasures unearthed from royal tombs, such as golden crowns and different kinds of treasures. I would also recommend visiting Wolji, which was a man-made pleasure palace in the late 7th century. My family likes to visit Wolji at dusk because the reflections of the buildings on the water are spectacular. And furthermore, I would recommend, hiking around Gyeongju's Namsan. My favorite place that I like to visit is a large rock that the popular Korean name is Buchobawi, Buddha's Rock. This is on the northeast side, and there's lots of impressive and symbolic carvings. The official Korean name is the Tapgok Mae Pulsangbun, but there's so much to see in Gyeongju.
Thank you very much, Professor McBride, for your insights today.
Thank you, Professor.
You're welcome.
And thank you, Walter, as always. We're going to see you back here soon.
See you soon.
Thank you for spending the past half an hour with us on The Culture Wave for your daily dose of K-culture issues.